All right, welcome to a Journal Star Sports podcast, and we've got some good company in here today. First of all, Rivermen play-by-play voice Brad Kupiec joins us.
Oh, glad to be back. Saving the best one for last, I see.
His job today was to get this enforcer to us today, Dennis Sicard, who already worked over our newsroom, and everybody's kind of giving him a wide berth. But welcome here to the podcast, Denny.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is should be good.
It is, yes, sir. Whatever you say, it's going to be. It's going to be. Let's just start at the start with you. I mean, you've got a very difficult role to perform on a nightly basis. You do the heavy lifting for teams so that skilled guys can be a little taller, as they say in the business, and have space to work.
Yeah, it's it's a job I was willing to do at a young age, and it just carried on throughout my pro career, and I wouldn't want to do anything else. It's great to be able to be there for your skilled guys and just give them a little bit more confidence out there, make some room for them, and you know what? You'll see a couple more goals, just by those guys, and it makes them a lot happier out there. And when you're happy, you play well.
Yeah, this team was excited when word came through the locker room that you were coming back out of retirement to join the Rivermen. And why don't we go through that process? What were you doing and where were you at, first of all?
I was in Cobourg, Ontario, Canada. I was actually coaching two youth hockey teams my nephews play for, and it was a great experience for me. It gave me so much more respect for the coaches I've played for, and the struggles that go along with it. I became more of a therapist than an actual coach. Those kids nowadays are they have a lot of stress on them, and they bring it to the rink. We used to just not even ever talk about our issues and just put it out on the ice, and we'd work hard. So it's a little different, and I was excited to get back to hockey again because I couldn't control anything those kids did on the ice, and which was it was making me go crazy because I'm like, man, I still want to play. I'm like, I have to play again. So that's where it kind of all became. But yeah, I was busy back home. I have my power skating business, Warhorse Hockey, and it was it's great. It's fun to really see those kids excel and become better hockey players. But I had to do this for myself.
You sent Rivermen coach John Guy Trudel a text, I think, as Peoria was getting ready to go on the road to play at Macon.
Yep.
For whom you played before you were retired.
Yep.
And what did you say to him in that text? And that kind of triggered a dialogue that brought you back here.
Well, I knew they were. I saw that they were playing Macon. I think it was like 3 times in a row, or 2 or 3 times. Yep. And I was like, man, please kill them. Not on the ice, but it's not that I have bad feelings towards Macon. It's just when I left with my injury and stuff like that, there's things that happened, but I don't know. I just wanted to see Peoria win this time, and because they've deserved it for so many years. And it's I'm not going to say that. Our teams that we've had have been good teams, and we've competed. But Peoria has consistently been a great team,
yes.
And they do deserve a championship. And that's why I wanted to come back, because I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to help out any way I can, because some teams lack in certain areas, and I thought I could maybe bring, that gritty style hockey to Peoria, and, just any way I could help, just give them a chance.
Brad, you were, of course, with the team on that road trip as news filtered through, and that Dennis was coming back, and you've been able to see the impact that he's had. Yep. What's the reaction of the team been to having him back in the fold?
It's so funny to see how when that word came through the locker room, you could see guys, their faces just lit up. I remember I was in coach's office with he and a couple of guys, and one of them said, well, I think our steel guys just got about 3 inches taller. And it was so funny the way that it all went down. Guy showed me it was just kind of a casual nothing text that you sent him. Just said, oh, hey, if you ever need a third line grinder, hit me up, let me know.
It's true. I did say that,
yeah. Yeah, and there you are.
And it snowballed, and now 2 months later, here we are.
And one thing I got to say is that it's great that those guys feel 3 inches taller, because I don't know what it feels like to be 3 inches taller. You know, it's a struggle.
I don't think it's a struggle for you.
No, but
there tends to be a lot of space around you when you're on the ice.
But you know, I could have used those inches. You know.
Yes, sir. What? How do you see your role now, Denny? We were talking before we came on air here about the shift in the game and traditional enforcer roles and what's happening with it. What do you see happening in the game, and whether guys like you will have a future in it?
Yeah, it's definitely become a better, more skilled game. I can honestly say that. We're losing the grit, the fighting. I know the fans love it, and it does. It can change a game. It can just change it drastically, and it's a shame that we're losing it. But that's how this world's working. It's I'm not saying it's becoming weaker, but guys are more focused on the skill aspect of it, and which is great. It's such a faster game, and you're bringing in a different audience as well. Even though you're losing some that really, really enjoyed the fighting, but you know what? They're gonna come back. If you really love the sport, you're gonna follow it. And but my role, as I was saying, I had to adjust. I had to adapt to the game, because if I continued just to be that fighter, I was not gonna have a job very long. And I saw it happening probably 3 to 4 years, maybe even 5 years ago, where I'm like, it's dwindling down. I'm not having as many fights. It seemed like people were starting to be more worried about their well-being. And when those first maybe 5 to 6 years I played, you didn't care about your face. You just went in there and you did your job, and you were there for your teammates. And as they say, enforcers are there, they'll do anything for their family. And that's how it's been for all my career. I didn't care about my well-being. I was meant to play hockey, to serve and protect.
You've had 203 fights in the SPHL, been suspended 13 times or so. A lot of those are automatics within the rules, not any particular behavior. And probably more than 300 bouts all told. Where did you learn how to fight? And what was that first fight like, and when did you know, I kind of like doing this?
Well, am I allowed to talk about an off-ice fight that started it?
If that's what got you going, sure.
Well, the first time I ever realized I could throw a punch, I was getting chased home from school by one of my sister's friends, and I got through the fence, and I was so out of shape I couldn't run anymore. So I turned back around and socked him one, and I'm like, ooh. That was crazy. It was a different type of feeling, but you know what? I didn't continue to really fight outside of hockey. I felt that feeling. I was like, wow, I can maybe do something. So years pass, and I'm playing hockey. I started at 13 years old, so it's a little later.
Started late.
Yeah, I started late, and the thing is one of my coaches, he knew that I was not as skilled. I'm starting late, so he said to me, he's like, you're going to be on a line with these two skilled guys. I want you to go around, hit, and do all that stuff. And what comes with hitting? Fighting. Yeah. So gradually my role, when you're a young age, you're not going to fight. You're going to grab onto them and have a little tussle, dance, whatever. But gradually, once I get older, we're dropping the gloves and we're really going at it. And my coach, my one coach, Johnny Johnson, he said to me, he's like, throw your gloves in his face, punch him in the neck. That's what he said. And I was like, what? And he's laughing, and he's like, no, you just got to be controlled in the fight and, take advantage any way you can, but not dirty. But that's where it all started. And I got my first chance in junior hockey, and I knew I had to do that to keep a spot on the team, or to make the team. So, that's where it began, and I never looked back. And
just kind of self-taught. I mean,
it was self-taught, yeah, for sure.
Didn't box outside the game or anything like that. You just did you watch anybody in particular growing up?
To be honest, I was more watching like a guy like Wendell Clark, all those guys. That they impressed me because they could play the game, they could fight, They would do anything for their teammates, and that's what Ty Domi, all those guys. Like, I can go back even further to Bob Probert, all those guys, Tony Twist. Like, Tony Twist threw from this hip. He had bombs. He was just throwing bombs. It was a different time. They were animals then. They were men. And as we said, the game is changing a little bit, and you'll see guys that are smaller being able to take that role.
Well, Kelly Chase was a smaller, a middleweight, if you will.
Oh, but for sure.
Boy, the motor and both in his head and his heart, he was a scrapper.
And your heart, if you have that heart and that passion, it comes through either your goal scoring or fighting. If you're willing to drop everything and put your not your life, but put your face on the line in your hands, you have to have some heart or just something driving you to do that job. And
doesn't make you nervous. There's no room for fear in doing this job, is there?
No. But the thing is, you got to be able to balance it out, because you still have to have those nerves, but that adrenaline takes over. So you don't know what's really happening in your feelings. You're like, okay, I'm feeling like a little tense and I'm excited, but I'm also thinking. So you gotta stay balanced as a fighter, because if you're too high, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna just throw wild. You're not gonna be controlled. So, and if you're too low, you know what? You're not gonna have that energy to really power through it. And that's where everything has to come in all at the same time and work off of each other. And that's what I've been able to do. Just calm myself down, I used to tell myself all the time, I said, this is what could happen. And then I'd be like kind of a little nervous. And then I'd say, but you just be you and do your thing and everything's going to work out.
You had a what's quickly become an instant classic bout with Nick Wright from Evansville a couple of weekends ago at Carver Arena. We think it's shown up as a clip on ESPN. It's been all over the place. And you guys combined for 50 punches in that thing. We slowed it down and counted them.
Oh, good.
And, and he goes 6'4", probably 215, 220, and you were outsized, but you won that bout.
Yeah, and you know what? It doesn't really matter how big they are. It's unless they're way too tall, you can't even reach their head. But it was a good bout. And he came up and he said, "Hey, you want one?" I'm like, "Yeah." I look at Jean-Guy, and he doesn't really say much, but I'm gonna respect his wishes. So I just looked over and I'm like, "Okay, we're good. Here we go." And to be honest, it was a great fight, and I wouldn't even take the win on that one. I would like to, but when two guys are battling like that and just punching each other in the face, it's you got to give that guy respect too. It was just a great fight, and you know what? He's gonna learn from it. It's actually gonna probably jack him up a little bit, and he's gonna be able to go into other fights being more confident. And that's what happened to me as a younger guy. But I said to him during warm-ups, I said, you need to start working a little bit on your skill, because if you can fight like that, you're going to be able to, excel a little bit more in hockey.
That's what you guys were chatting about. We saw that.
I don't hold grudges against other guys. I want people to, improve and become the best, version of themselves. And any way I can help, if I can help them in their fighting, like I help guys all the time. Like Hamilton, he's a young guy and he really wants to take on that role, not just fighting, but he wants to be able to protect his teammates when necessary. And once he gets controlled and be able to calm himself down in a fight, he's gonna do very well. But I'm not here just for myself. I'm here I'm here to learn as well. Hagman was teaching me stuff today. I'm going to take everything I can from this life because it's a short one.
Brad, what you had a great call on that Wright Sicard
thank
fight,
you.
And
great job.
You just go to another place when you see that mentally.
I'm just go to the same place I go when I'm calling a game. If it's tic-tac-toe passing in the offensive zone, or guys are going back and forth, just throwing haymakers, right hand for right hand. I'm in the same place mentally. I'm just talking a million miles an hour and being myself.
I mean, that was it's exciting though for you to
it is.
call a bout like that.
It absolutely is, and especially as a fan of not just hockey but other sports and combat sports, boxing and mixed martial arts and that kind of thing. It's really a thrill for me to be able to call something like
your
that.
martial art is Brazilian
Jiu-Jitsu, which does not involve punching. I've got a history of concussions. It's a long story.
Yeah, you're a diplomat.
Yes.
And
I don't even want to be compared to him. So
you sir, you messed around a little bit.
I just dabbled with some classes and stuff, but you know what? I don't think I could be up to his standards. But who knows? Maybe we need to put on a show.
All bets are off.
I was going to ask how long in that clash before the first punch happens. I mean,
yeah, if he starts putting my arm behind my back or something, I'm going to have to come at him real soon.
Well, you've been part of 3 championship teams in this league. So you've seen, and I'm sure they're all different teams. Every team has a different nature to it. How does this one, these Peoria Rivermen, compare to those teams that you've played for that have won the whole thing?
It's not the thing is it's the similarities I look for, and it's very similar in a way of everyone's on the same page. You kind of have a swagger. Like when you walk in the room, it's not being, I'm trying to think. It's a feeling. You'd have to feel it. It's guys that are just willing to go through a wall for one another, and I feel it. And whenever you're down in a game, you're coming back, and it's the weirdest feeling. You don't worry. And I've only had it on 3 of the teams I've. This is the 3rd here for this one, and I feel it here. I feel it. We have such a skilled team. These guys are just they put the effort in every day. I've never seen a team put in so much effort, and that's thanks to the coach. Guy, he's on top of things, and he was a skilled player, but he knows how to get the best out of every player. Doesn't matter who you are. So what I do see is a very skilled team that's willing to go that extra mile, and when you have that, you have a chance to win. There's things that are going to happen in a game that little flukes here and there, whatever happens, but stay composed and just know that we can come back from anything, and you have to have that swagger.
40-win team on a 56-game schedule. I mean, Brad, we go ahead if you want and run down some of the records this team has set as they go into the playoffs. It's
astronomical to think, and you think back to that 15-16 Rivermen team that set all the records for wins, points. Yeah. Those records were both broken. The points record was shattered with 89. Best win percentage at 79.5. Fewest goals allowed is just fewest regulation losses overall and at home. Just an incredible number of records that this team has set through this regular season run they've had.
A lot of expectation comes with that.
Oh, for sure. But it's nothing these guys can't take on, and it's you just got to be confident. Yeah, the confidence goes a mile. It's just like crazy what it does for a team. So you know what, we have confidence in the regular season. We won 40 games. I wasn't here for all of them, but you know what, they made me feel like I was part of that, and that's what a good team does. They just can bring guys in and make you feel at home. So
yeah, exactly. It's going to be an interesting run. There's no easy road in this playoff. I mean, these are all good teams this year. I think pretty balanced field. I mean, what's your feel for the whole thing overall?
Yeah, their teams are they're building, and it used to be like the bottom teams were just they were out of it before it even began,
right.
But now everyone's kind of on the same playing field, and it's actually fun to play. It's a lot more fun, because if it was just easy, then it wouldn't be exciting to even go through the pain and all that good stuff. So you know what, the league's getting better, and I expect teams to want this just as much as we do, but we're going to prevail because of what we put into it.
And what you put in, you're personally into the game. I mean, you're an interesting guy. You said you played rugby.
Yeah,
rugby.
Yeah, I loved it.
And a lot of people sitting up in the grandstand probably don't realize that you're playing in these hockey games without shoulder pads. You elect not to use shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And I remember when we first met a few years ago, you said, I like the pain. What's that all about?
Well, yeah, because I never wore shoulder pads for years, and as I said, I was forced to wear a little vest over my heart, all that stuff.
It looks like a rugby.
Yeah, it's just a little
padded.
A little bra. You can call
sports
it
bra.
Yeah, sports bra.
Yeah.
Well, I don't call it that, please. It started out with rugby, being able to take those big hits, and then when I got into a hockey game, I felt a lot freer out there. So in my fights, everyone thinks it's a big advantage in a fight, but really, it's not. You're still grabbing onto the jersey. You should be grabbing it like down, closer to the arm. You can control that arm. But you know what? The pain, I do love it, because what happens, I turn that pain into anger for that team, against that team. And I want to work so much harder. I want to beat them to every puck. It just forces me to become more part of the game. And I get in there and get gritty because I am angry.
Yeah, you actually wrote a story. Was that this year that came out? Why I Fight?
Oh yeah, it might have been. It might have been last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
I mean, just why do you fight?
I fight for my brothers in that locker room. I fight for an adrenaline rush. I'm a pretty outgoing guy. I have skydived, bungee jump, doing all that kind of stuff. I love that feeling, and fighting gives you that. And that's the thing. You have to be able to take control of it and know when to do it and when not to. It's kind of like a little vicious cycle with it, because what do you do when you're finished hockey? How do you get that adrenaline rush? And that's what people ask me when it's all over. What are you going to do? And I put that into stuff that I enjoy. As I said, like, I'll go back and play rugby. I'll play hockey again. But am I going to be fighting? No, but I'm going to tweak it a little bit where I can get that same satisfaction out of it.
I see you as a post-career as a bouncer at a skydiving school bar.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you have a little bit of.
Well, are you starting that? Are you starting that up?
Yeah, it might be a business opportunity.
Well, give me a call when you do.
I like it.
Well, what on a personal level, married, single, girlfriend? What's going on with you?
Yeah, I have a girlfriend, Brittany. She's in Knoxville, Tennessee right now. She's a school teacher there, first grade. Great person. I met her in Augusta, Georgia, when I was playing for the Riverhawks there, and she's very supportive with everything I do. And she said she loves what she does every day, so she supports me in doing what I love. So you can't beat that. So
someday you're going to be out of this game and go on in life. As you look at this league, because your journey was Augusta the first team you played for?
Oh no! In this league, no,
Yeah.
no. Holy, let's go back.
You've been
back to the Richmond Renegades back in 2006, 2007, I think.
That's the second year of the league, perhaps. So
it might have been. Yeah,
you have been able firsthand to see the growth and change of this league.
Oh yeah,
as it's come along.
Yeah.
What was it like back then, and what do you see now?
Well, back then, like, even for fighters, you'd have probably 3 to 4 guys on each team that were really the fighters, but pretty much everyone could fight. Even the skilled guys, they could do it. And we'd get up there, the heavyweights would go right off the bat, maybe 1 second in. The next 2 seconds in, it's the next guys, and then the next guys, and usually, like, a lot of time, you'd have 2 to 3 fights right off the bat.
Wow!
And it was more for entertainment, It was when you're having guaranteed fight nights.
That was a thing.
Yeah, it was a thing. Now you gotta add in a sumo wrestling fight out there just to promote it, But it's the league has changed so much. There was a lot more veterans back then. So what happened, guys?
It was an older league.
Yeah, it was an older league. So guys that were coming from the U-Haul, if they were playing up in the coast, the CHL, all those, even the IHL, AHL. Once they come down, it was a little bit slower because guys were getting older, but it was still a skilled game. It was still great, and there was a lot of great players. and a lot of great mentors. So I'm happy I got to experience it, because now I can, kind of just see the changes that it's making.
You're the wise old owl now.
Yeah, I guess I am. But, guys do ask me, and I think they do kind of, because I played so long, they do look up to me and, just look for advice, all that kind of stuff. But I'm here for them and whatever they need. So
what, like we mentioned earlier, 203 fights in this league alone. I mean, who'd you throw against that was maybe the toughest? Maybe a couple of guys.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys. Like I stated a while back, like Jason Hamilton, a big guy. He was a big boy. I don't know. He might have been like close to 280, 290 pounds at the time. But guys like Jason Bone, I don't know if you guys know him, but he could throw a mean uppercut, and I'm so thankful he never hit me with a couple of those, because I've watched some of those fights back, and I'm like, if he would have hit me, my head would have been somewhere else. So we have guys like David Siegel that most people would know. A lot of respect for him. Even Brad Plowski, all those guys. There was a lot of them. Boutin Gagnon, I don't know if you know him.
I don't know him.
He's actually one guy that kind of stunned me a little bit.
Really?
Oh yeah, he got me, and and I'm not afraid to say it, but we had some good fights, but I don't know, I could go back for forever, and there's a lot of guys that I respect, and Craig Stahl, I don't know if you know him. They called him the Chief back then. Yeah, he was in Columbus. A lot of respect for that guy, just because he was willing to do it. And the funny thing is I'm starting to feel like he did back then, because he was becoming an older guy, and he fought his pretty much his whole career, and he's coming to the end. And I started to have that feeling last year, like, I don't know if I want to fight. It's like you're getting older, and I now know what he was feeling at that time.
If you could go back at any point in your career and have the opportunity, one shift against an NHL enforcer, who would you like to fight?
Man, as I said, I think personally, I love watching Tony Twist fight, and I think he would just take control of me and just throw me around like a little rag doll. But the one thing is to be able to say you did it and gave everything, and you never know. I always say everyone's got a puncher's chance, so who knows? I might have clip him one time, who knows? But I think probably him, or even Wendell Clark, because I respected him so much, his style of play. So,
well, we appreciate your time, and this Rivermen team certainly has a puncher's chance.
Oh yeah,
the SPHL players. So we'll see how this unfolds in the next couple of weeks here, and maybe you get another ring, huh?
That's the plan. That's why I came out of retirement. So let's do that.
All right, I appreciate it. If I can get my voice to work again. For Dennis Sicard and Brad Kupiec, I'm Dave Eminian with the Journal-Star. You can catch all these podcasts on at journalstar.podcasts.com, and enjoy. We'll be back again.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Dave.